All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Everything Iconic with me, Danny Pellegrino. I have a very special guest. I'm so excited. Theresa Caputo is on the show. Theresa, first and foremost, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic.
Yeah, I'm so excited to chat with you. I also a little bit nervous, and I'm not really sure why exactly, but I'm a little nervous, but also
Don't be
very excited.
nervous. I know my nails can be very scary.
Where are you at right now? Are you?
I'm at home.
Right.
I'm in Long Island. Back in the Ville in Hicksville.
Yeah. I want to just jump right in, and I wonder if you could just tell me a little bit about your history with your career, and maybe when you kind of realized it could be a career path, if that makes sense.
I never really looked at it as a career. I struggled with my gift for many years because I couldn't understand why someone would want to come to a medium and how could this be a quote unquote career. And what I learned is that, unfortunately, no matter who we lose or how they die, we here in the physical world are left with burdens and guilt. And that's what I use my gift for, is to help people to be able to move on after the loss of a loved one with as much happiness and peace that they possibly can.
Now emotionally, is that exhausting a little bit? Because, it's a lot to take on.
It is, but what I've learned is that especially when I read, I don't have any of my own personal thoughts, feelings, or emotions. It's simply of the souls of the departed and the person that is receiving the messages.
Right.
It is tough because I always say this, Danny. I make what I do look very easy. It's the hardest thing that I have to do is to help people and encourage people to embrace life with happiness and joy, knowing and feeling that they don't know how to do that after the loss of a loved one. And I think that I don't think people realize how powerful these messages truly are. We hear them, we listen to them, but they're so life-changing for someone.
What was the first moment it clicked for you that you had this gift? Was there one specific moment?
Well, I just thought it was normal. I mean, growing up, I would say to my mom, I feel different. I don't feel like I belong here, and I feel different than everyone else. And my mom would always be very comforting to me and, reassuring me that I wasn't. And this is what happens. I almost feel like that. I feel like when I can't gather my own thoughts, feelings, or emotions, it's spirit. So I'm going to do my best, Danny, to stay focused on what you're asking me.
Is there a spirit related to me? You don't know?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going to keep going on, and then we'll see what happens. Okay. What was the original question?
When you first kind of realized that you had this gift.
So growing up for me, I just thought it was normal. I thought everyone was sensing and feeling what I was. And it wasn't until later in my 20s and early 30s that I discovered that I was not only able to connect with my own departed loved ones, but everyone else's. And the moment of 9/11, when 9/11 happened, is when I had a spiritual experience where I was told this is now the time because people need healing more than ever. People died. Their loved ones didn't know what happened to them. It's almost very parallel to what is going on now with this pandemic. Right. People weren't sure if their loved ones were afraid, or how they died, or if they suffered.
And are you feeling kind of overwhelmed right now with all the loss?
I think every day I feel this overwhelmingness. I think it's a different kind of feeling. And I think it's because the need that people are searching for some type of positivity. A lot of people, what I found over these past several months is a lot of people have lost their faith. Yeah. And they don't know how to go on. And then there's that other side of the coin where people are turning to spirituality and they are looking for something else, something different.
Did anyone else in your family, have they had these gifts, or were you the only one?
So I come from a very spiritual family. I feel that I am the only one that has taken my gift and embraced it the way that I have.
I was listening to your show, your podcast, and you just released an episode with Matt Bomer, who I love. He's
Uh,
stunningly gorgeous,
yeah,
and
I was going to say dreamy.
yeah, he's so dreamy. I know. But I was listening to it, and I think you
Yeah.
guys were doing it over Zoom, right? It
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Just like how we are. Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, how is there a difference when you're reading someone over Zoom versus in person?
For me, yes and no. The messages are still being able to be delivered and you can still feel them. But for me, I am such a people person that I love and I crave that physical connection.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only thing that I kind of feel different. I feel that people also with the Zoom, some people also seem more relaxed because it's not so. Can I use the term, Danny? Intimidating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it's not like it's like they might be in the safety of their own home and they feel comfort. They're not as guarded, I think, over Zoom.
Yeah. It's very fascinating to me. And do you ever ask yourself sort of why me? Why was I given this? Or
Yeah.
yeah.
I struggle
Yeah.
with that for probably about 5 years. Before I really embraced my gift. I struggle with, okay, I struggle with so many things because I always share with people I am a practicing Catholic and I struggled with that with my faith. And I was like, okay, well, if this gift is given to me by God, why was I chosen? Why was I the one to be with this gift? I never considered it a burden because people will ask me that too. Do you consider it a burden or a curse? And absolutely not. It is such an honor and a privilege to be able to channel the souls of the departed. And, I don't want anyone to ever be to misunderstand why I do what I do. It's not. It doesn't matter to me if people believe in me or mediums. I want people to believe in themselves, to believe and to know that the things that go on around them, that remind them of their own loved ones, that it is them. It's their loved ones' souls with them at that exact moment, and that there is more to life than this.
You've been doing this for a long time, and I wonder if you've noticed a shift because you've been around so long. I think people have a little bit more faith in what you do because they've been able to see it over the course of time. Have you noticed that shift as well?
Yes, but I kind of live in like my little bubble of where people do believe in an afterlife.
Yeah.
I think what people struggle with is because we can't see it or feel it or physically touch it, right? It's hard for us to really believe in something like that.
Yeah. So when a spirit's coming to you, what is that feeling like, or how does it work? Is that a stupid question?
No. That's a very good question because that's how, people always ask me, how does it work and I wish I had some like amazing way of like what happens. It's just as we were talking before, and I still have it. I have this heaviness. So a lot of times when spirit wants to communicate, I'll feel a heaviness in my head. But more importantly, I kept feeling like I was having a lot of trouble breathing, struggle of breath. And then my throat felt restricted, which is my symbol for that someone passed from something of the heart, lungs, or chest, and they were unable to communicate in the end. And I do feel that there are actually several souls present. I don't know who else is on this call, if there's someone else with you, but there was a father energy stepping forward. So if I feel a father figure, even if it might not be someone's dad, it could be someone that was like a father, a grandfather, an uncle, or someone where you would share that bond with. So typically spirit will make me feel the bond and relationship that you shared with them and how they departed.
Okay. My grandpa, he was he had some heart trouble. He passed away
Okay.
a couple of years back from heart trouble.
So, and he just said to me, he goes, it was kind of quick though.
It was, yeah.
He goes, there was really no time. And he kept showing me, like, he came forward in this suit jacket when he had like this hanky in here. And it was so perfectly done.
He always he always would wear a suit jacket with a hanky. Yeah. Even, casually. Yeah.
Stop. I just got the goosebumps and the chills.
I did too.
That's my validation that it is his soul and present, and his soul is present. The reason why he made me feel that he went quickly, that even though he might have had trouble, we really didn't have time to kind of fix the heart issue. And he made me feel like, he goes, you know what? He says, I lived my life. Yes, I had this condition, but I just lived my life and embraced every day as a gift. And I lived life to the fullest. He says, I wouldn't have changed how I died. He said, because there really was no suffering to my passing. I didn't have to watch my family watch me be sick.
Mm.
He goes,
Hmm.
do you know how hard that would have been? He says, and that would not have been me. Are you like named after him or a namesake? Because he keeps referring to you as almost like a namesake or more like a son to him than a grandson.
No, I wasn't. No, his name was Frank, but I had sort of a tough relationship with
He just
him.
said to me a very unique. So this is the interesting thing that I find with spirit. When spirit makes me feel something that is an opposite of their personality and or your relationship, it validates of them taking responsibility for their actions on how they made you feel.
Mm.
What the souls of the departed have explained to me is that when we get to the other side, we review our life through someone else's eyes that we've hurt or disappointed. So that's how the soul learns lessons and grows. So I love the fact that he made me feel like that he was proud of you and he was proud to call you his namesake. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And
oh, he literally, he's so blunt. Was that him?
probably, yeah.
So he's like,
Yeah.
I was a jerk.
Yeah. Yeah. He was.
And I kind of feel like he built like walls around him. And it's almost like if he didn't understand something or know about it, it was dumb. Or why would you want to do that? Or why would you? And he says, I realized how do I interpret this? Narrow-mindedness or he showed me like a horse with blinders on, like not being able to see anything else but what was right in front of him.
Yeah, he had met, I've been with my boyfriend forever, and he had met my boyfriend a bunch of times, but he never knew it was my boyfriend, and he
said, so the blinders, and
blinders,
never acknowledged it. But you know what he says? You know what I've seen from the other side is how you have, now you're the only one that's going to know this because this is something extremely personal to you. How he showed it to me as if it was like a rose bush. So here you are, this rose bush, and we have this bud. Now you have your partner, your boyfriend, and all of a sudden you've blossomed into this beautiful rose. That makes sense? And I think what he's validating is on how he has seen how he has allowed you to grow as a person and to explore things that you never thought you would have been able to feel or be in a place in your life as far as a relationship, or to feel that way about someone else, and like where you thought nothing was going to be possible. You have all of the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
And he says, that's what I admire and love about your relationship and about the man that you've become. And he just looked at me and he goes, Theresa, he's not going to believe this because this is so opposite of who I was here in the physical world. He showed me a watch. So can you connect with a watch? If there was nothing specific that maybe he liked watches, collect watches, and or if you have something to do with a watch, if you cannot specifically connect with a watch, it then becomes my symbol for where you connect with time. Where you look at a clock and the time is always the same, or the numbers are always the same on the clock, 333, 444, 711, whatever it may be, or you feel like a connection with that. Know that that is the soul getting your attention. Did you have a good friend that died? Tragically. I tasted blood, so that's my symbol for that. They died sudden and or unexpected, hit me in the back of the head. It means that they passed quickly.
One of my best friends lost his brother very recently.
So know that I asked your grandfather to validate that I interpreted everything correctly and that his soul has learned lessons and sees you in a very different light. And I asked him to bring forward someone that you would not expect to bring forward. So know that I'm going to refer to him as the brother energy.
Okay.
And he did the sign of the cross and stood with the Blessed Mother. That is just my symbol for. This doesn't mean, I share with you in my frame of reference. You or the family has to place it on how it fits in their life. And he says, I want you to know that I take responsibility for my actions that caused and attributed to my departure. I don't want anyone to carry that burden, and know that my soul is safe and at peace with God.
Oh, wow. You mentioned Rosebud, and I got really emotional. My
Mm-hmm.
grandma's name was Rose, and
He just brought. Is she departed as well?
mhm.
Because he goes, this is why he would have been excited to meet you, Theresa. Because I started, I doodle and write and I started to write grandma.
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah,
so know that he brings her forward. So there was a reason why I brought up the rose. I used the term of a rosebud.
yeah,
And she's like, he's such a good boy, Theresa. He's such a good boy. She says, please know that I heard you say goodbye. I don't want you to feel that you could have or should have been there more for me. Do you understand that?
yeah. I wasn't able to be there, and I did her eulogy, but I
Mhm.
wasn't there at the end.
She says it was so beautiful. Do you know he talked about everything from him growing up all the way up until the day that I died? Do you actually have the eulogy in a frame or you kept it in something safe?
I have it. Yeah, I don't have it framed, but I have it. Yeah,
Is it like 3 pages long?
it's yeah. I think maybe. Yeah, I'd have to check it,
I
but
just wanted her to validate because I did see that you did write something in memory of someone, but it was prior to your grandmother stepping forward. So I just wanted her to validate that she
yeah,
does know.
yeah. I wasn't able to be there towards the end of her life when she was in the hospital and really sick, so
Hmm.
I didn't know that end part of her life. But we were really close when I was young,
Hmm.
and
And
then
that's what you spoke about.
I was able to fly home for the funeral, and I
Mhm.
did the eulogy.
She says, please know that I can move freely on the other side. I have no more restrictions because she made my legs feel numb, which means that she had some type of disability, whether she couldn't move around well, whether a swelling or actually had something amputated. And it validates that she can move freely on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, she was, I think, bedridden for towards the end, and
Oh, okay.
um,
She talks about a specific necklace. Do you know about the necklace, or was there something about?
nothing I can think of. I mean, she always had a rosary in her hands,
I
but
don't know if you can ask maybe mom or ask someone of what that meant. It could be something where someone might have wanted something of hers and they didn't acquire it. Um, she actually has a sense of humor, your grandmother. Because when you were talking about like, oh, I didn't get to see her when she passed, or she's like, oh, please. She goes, it was a mess. She goes, it was a good thing that he couldn't make it.
oh,
Like, I feel like she
yeah,
was like blowing, like, no, that's not a big deal. Like,
yeah,
and it was almost like I feel like she just said to me, she goes, please tell him that there are no regrets.
yeah. You mentioned funny, and my other grandmother too. She passed a little more recently, and she was like a comedian. So I'm wondering if
Oh,
I don't know.
well, where does the cooking come in? Or something?
That was the Grandma Rose. That was
Okay,
Grandma Rose.
Grandma Rose ain't letting other grandma through.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's funny.
um,
Yeah, I was
but
really
who?
close with Grandma
Well,
Rose. I
yeah,
mean, she was the one I was
she.
hoping would maybe.
Well, she. But do you see how important it was? I feel how important it was for you to hear from your grandfather.
Yeah,
Now, your grandmother talks about a sister that is with them on the other side. So did somebody lose the sister or sister-in-law?
my aunt Helen, my grandma's sister, possibly.
Okay. So like I don't have any sisters. So it's like
Yeah, yeah.
so I don't want it taken for granted. She actually brought forward 3 other souls. So just know that they are all connected on the other side.
Okay.
And I don't know, your grandmother Rose is making me feel like you kept something so special of hers, and I feel like it has no monetary value whatsoever. Whether it be a piece of handwriting, it could be china or a piece of silk, but I feel like it has no monetary value.
Yeah, I have a little note that she wrote before she passed, and it's in my office, framed.
So listen, at the end of the day, there's no way I would know that,
Yeah.
but she does. And it validates that her soul is with you and hasn't left you. And more importantly, no regrets.
Mm.
I feel like that it's so, your grandmother, she brags about you.
Yeah.
Like she's showing me like, I remember when my grandfather, she's showing me like whether she was in the hospital and she always spoke about you or talked about you, because she's showing me my grandfather that in the end he used to tell everyone in the rehab, oh, my granddaughter, yeah, she's on TV, but she just talks. They just pay her to be on TV and she just talks.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had no clue.
My grandma Rose, she was always very proud of us
Yep.
and super, the nicest human being I've ever met. Like she was just always the
Hmm.
sweetest. She's very religious, but also just
Hmm.
so incredibly kind. Um,
Is there a moment where you feel like you can feel her presence? I don't even know how to interpret this. She made me feel something in my heart, and I literally felt the emotion that she was saying. He knows when I'm around, he can feel it.
I think about her a lot.
Okay.
She's someone out of anyone who I've known who's passed. She's just the one I think about the most. I don't know if there's a specific time, but just
Well, just know that
oh,
when you're doing that, her soul is with you. Now, did she have something? Could she not really communicate well in the end? Because she
yeah,
made me feel something in the brain, and she goes, Teresa, she goes, I knew everything. She goes, even though they were saying that I didn't know and I couldn't express myself, she says, I knew.
yeah. I mean, I remember towards the end, I would talk to her on the phone, and we had trouble communicating.
Mhm.
She couldn't speak very well at the end.
But it was always smiling. And it was almost like you can look in her eyes and you can see how happy she was just to hear
Mm.
your voice.
Oh, great! That makes me feel good.
So that's how
That
it works, Danny.
I'm sorry I got so emotional. I wasn't expecting to get so emotional,
It
but
is it is emotional because you can feel it. This is the other thing that I don't think people realize, that you feel something when this happens. And nobody can tell you that what you feel isn't real. You know what you feel, right? You know
right.
your emotions, you know what happens as you're hearing these messages. And I say things for a reason. I'm going to tell you, it was not a coincidence that I used the rose bush and the
Yeah.
rosebud.
And when you said it, I felt like my whole this sounds lame or cheesy, but I felt like my whole body just something happened. I don't know.
That
Uh,
was her soul.
oh wow.
That is the soul. It's anything that goes on around you that is odd, weird, you might think is a coincidence or even unexplainable. Know that that is your loved ones.
So when you're talking about these souls who have passed, are they with you all the time, or what are they doing? This might sound stupid too. What are they doing
They're
when they're
not in the
not with
shower,
you?
they're not watching you in the bedroom.
Right. Okay.
That's usually but you could say it's Annie.
Yeah. They're not doing that stuff.
No.
They just come in at important times, right?
Right. We're not that exciting.
Yeah, that's so funny. Um, yeah,
Yeah, so you know what, that's the other thing, like I don't know.
yeah,
Like, they have to be with us at certain points because they're acknowledging specific things that go on. So how would they know about it? Because they're living life through our eyes and soul form.
right.
Look, there are times that I can feel like I could be sensing my own loved ones as I'm on the phone with my family members that live in another state, and they're like, "Yep, I'm seeing the same exact thing. I'm feeling the same thing. I know Nanny is with us." So, and I
Mhm.
always say I'll find out when I get there.
Right.
Right?
Uh, it's such a gift.
It is.
I don't want to say I was ever skeptical. It's just I don't know. There you mentioned you get a feeling, and there was
Hmm.
something I don't know that I've ever had that feeling before. When I
Hmm.
started crying, it was I've never had such an overwhelming. Of course, I've
Right.
cried before, but something.
But it was different. It's the way that it felt
Yeah.
and why you were having the emotion.
Yeah. And today too, I've been thinking about my grandparents just because my brother just had a baby this morning. And so I've been thinking about them and
Oh,
yeah, I don't know.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, and specifically because I wasn't able to be there for my grandma,
Mhm.
when both grandmas, when
Mhm.
they passed, I don't know, I was just thinking cause I'm not able to be there for my brother.
It, but it's honestly the same thing. It is that burden, that loss that we feel, right? That we feel that we weren't there for our loved ones, whatever it may be.
My dad, he really took care of my grandpa towards the end, and he did that for my grandma. And I always wonder if she recognized that from beyond.
Yeah. Yeah, she says, now your father knows what a pain in the ass
Right.
your grandfather really was. And now they go, oh, now we know what mommy meant.
Right. Right.
Right?
And then my grandpa on my mom's side, I never got to know him, but there's this dream I have because he had walked me when I was 1 year. He died when I was, I think, 1 year old, so I was a baby. But I sometimes have this dream, and my mom has told me the story about how he took me, I think, the night before he passed, and he walked me around a grocery store. And it comes to me sometimes, and
wow.
I don't know.
A lot of times when we have dreams or we remember things and they're so vivid, right? And there's no explanation. That's a visitation from the soul. So I would interpret it in a way that is your grandfather remembering his last moments here in the physical world.
Right. Wow. Theresa.
But let me ask you about the new baby. Is the baby named after someone? Form of a name? Could be an initial?
We haven't even found out the middle name. They know the first name, but they're still working out the middle name.
Even if they were considering naming after someone, doesn't mean that they should or they should have. The thought and wanting to do that, I asked them to validate that they held the soul before coming here into the physical world and they know of the baby. They showed me the little marking on the back of the neck. That's my symbol for that they held the soul. So whether it might be a marking that goes away or gets lighter, it's a validation that they held the soul, and using the validation of considering naming the child after someone, form of a name, middle name, just even an initial. And even if they don't, to spirit, the thought of wanting to do that means the absolute world to them.
Oh, wow. Wow. Theresa, this was so wonderful to talk to you. How are you enjoying doing these readings on your show? I mean,
I'm enjoying it a lot. Long Island Medium is going to be a little different this season in the fact that we're doing readings virtually. We were able to do some in person, with following all the rules and protocols of COVID. And it's actually going to be now on Discovery Plus. It's now on a new streaming service with Discovery. So I'm very interested to see. I don't see the episodes until they air. So it's very interesting on how we still have this emotion. And the thing that you were able to even witness that even over Zoom. And the thing that I love about, during this pandemic, I say this is the one silver lining that came out of the pandemic for me, was that I realized that Zoom is the new phone reading. So I was able to start my own podcast called Hey Spirit, where I'm reading people all over the country, all over the world. And people are listening, that they're hearing the messages, and it's almost like they can feel it and they can be in that moment with them. And I think they kind of also get that sense of what it's like for me, because they're feeling it as well.
Right.
You felt it.
Yeah. 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 And even when I was listening to your show last night, I mean, it's very fascinating. It's very entertaining and all of those things, but it's very emotional as well. Yeah. It's just, there's something.
The thing that I love about what I do is you get something out of it. Whether you're watching Long Island Medium, listening to Hey Spirit, or even someone listening, to your show, they're going to get something out of it. Maybe they're going to think twice about when they see that feather on the floor and they think of a departed loved one, or they feel as if someone is standing next to them, but there's no one else in the room. Or when they have those vivid dreams, to know that that is a visitation. It is the soul wanting you to remember them in that way. They don't want you to remember them sick or suffering or not being okay. That's why your grandma Rose just said to me, you had an experience with her after she died. Is that correct? Did you think you saw her, or you woke up from a dream and it was like, oh, how could that be? She died.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple times. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I don't dream of my loved ones that have died. So I always, I embrace it when I say that to someone, because I don't connect with them in that way.
Yeah. I had a dream sort of recently where it felt like we were together, and even, this sounds silly, but with my dog that had passed too, it was like we were hanging out, and it felt so real to me. I think I might have even told my parents about it. I was like, Mom, this was so strange.
But that's the difference between a dream and a visitation. So when we dream of someone that has passed and we remember it so vividly and they're happy and they're smiling and we're doing something fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
It validates that that is how they want you to remember them. And it was a visitation.
Mm-hmm.
So she was letting you. Did you get another dog?
No,
Or are you
no,
thinking
we
about
didn't.
it?
My boyfriend and I have been thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah. We want one. We just haven't.
That's fine. Look, this doesn't mean that you're supposed to get another dog. It's validating that the souls are all together and that the dog is with your loved ones.
Mm.
I can hear the bark. Do you sometimes think you hear the dog barking?
Yeah.
I literally feel like I can hear. Know that that's real. Know that that is the soul of your pet.
Oh. Theresa, do you find that people, when you're doing these readings, are holding on to their loved ones who have passed too much, or?
I don't think we can hold on too much.
Yeah.
I think we hold on differently. I think there's a difference in remembering our loved ones, including them in our lives, and we're able to move forward. What I've noticed that you have to realize, there are people that come for a reading for many different reasons. Some people come because they lost a child and they don't want to go on anymore. They don't know how to go on after the loss of their child. Parents come, they might be on the verge of a divorce because of the loss of a child, and they come and they're able to find a way to repair their marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do, I feel, is more than just me communicating with the souls of the departed. It gives us faith, hope, and peace.
Yeah. I want to wrap this up. I know I know you're a busy woman, but I wonder if there's anything, those souls, I don't know if they're still with you, but if anything that maybe I could pass on to my family, or any of them, a message they might want to send, or is that
just keep looking for the signs and symbols. And I know how much you love and miss us, but we are just with you in a different way.
Right.
I'm interested. I just want to share one thing with you. When we were talking about your Grandma Rose, she kept showing me primary color balloons, and I was going to ask you if it was your birthday, and I heard no, but now I understand it. You just had the birth of a child,
Right.
So today is the birthday.
Yeah.
So I never had that before, but this is how I build my spirit library. When spirit shows me things, and I have different meanings for primary color balloons. So now if someone says, now in the future, if you ever listen to my show and you hear me say, is it your birthday? And they go, no, and go, well, was there just a child born? You're going to know spirit just showed me you.
Oh my God. I love that.
I feel like we could be like best friends.
I know, Theresa, this was honestly like, I feel like I just want to sit on here with you forever, because this is so fascinating to me. And I feel silly because I'm just like, what else are you going to say? Like,
don't be silly. It's so nice. But you know what? This is a part of, it's a thing. You know what? Maybe we leave each other with that, and then, we can connect again in the
another
future.
Time. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Theresa, anything else you could tell people about where they can find you, the show, Hey Spirit, all of that stuff?
Sure. You can find Long Island Medium coming on the beginning of the year on Discovery Plus. And you can find me, Theresa Caputo, anywhere on any of your social media, just at Theresa Caputo. And more importantly, Hey Spirit, which I am so proud of, wherever you listen to podcasts, and be able to listen to amazing healing messages.
It's a wonderful podcast. It's on Acast. I encourage everyone to go check out Hey Spirit, subscribe, listen. If you're watching this interview on YouTube, I want to just let everyone know to subscribe, comment, like, all of that stuff. You can find me on social media at Danny Pellegrino on Twitter and Instagram. And Theresa, thank you so much. I feel like I just had a great therapy session. I feel like I've just some sort of weight lifted off of me. I don't know.
I love
so thank
that.
you.
And the fact that you weren't even searching for it.
No,
right?
no, I was not expecting to be so emotional this morning.
So what a beautiful gift from your departed loved ones.
Truly, truly. Thank you, Theresa.
Thank you so much.
Hope to talk again soon.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a fantastic day.